In this video, we are going to talk about migration and migratory flows in Brazil, covering the main flows as well as their causes. All of this in a direct and objective way. So grab your coffee and let's get into the video. Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Paulo, your geography teacher. As always, it's an honor to have you here with me on Heyo Ilustrada. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Internal migrations in Brazil. And in this video, we're going to use that classic mind map format we used back at the beginning of Geo Ilustrada. So stay with me until the end, otherwise the content won't make sense, all right? So let's start here with a quick introduction. What is migration after all? That even rhymed. Migration refers to movement, the movement of people or animals. And then we have movement into a place, which is immigration, and movement out of a place, which is emigration. In the video up here in the card, I talk a little more about this, okay? And within this, we also have voluntary migrations, which is when a person chooses to migrate, and forced migration, which is when a person is forced for some reason to migrate. Among these reasons are wars, natural disasters, political and religious persecution, economic issues, among others. Another very important aspect is the reasons that lead an individual to migrate. What are they? And here we have the attractive factors, or pull factors, and the repulsive factors, or push factors, which are basically the advantages and disadvantages of the places of origin and destination. And among them, we have education, the feeling of safety, climate, job opportunities, among others. And these aspects influence people's decisions, right? Because if you're going to move, obviously you want to go to a better place, right? Better than where you are currently. And here we can't forget to highlight the situation of refugees, who are those people who are forced to migrate due to political persecution, natural disasters, wars, among others. That said, we can turn our attention to internal migrations in Brazil. And here, the first fact to highlight is that they are largely due to the regional inequalities in the country, such as, for example, the urban and industrial concentration in the Southeast region, right? Especially in the states of Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, which for a long time were major job creators, right? Which is an attractive factor for people to migrate to these states. But we'll talk a bit more about that later on. For now, you need to know that there are three main migration flows here in the country. So let's go over each of them now, all right? The first one happened around 1888 after the abolition of slavery in Brazil up until 1930. So during this period, as I mentioned, in 1888, we had the abolition of slavery and the establishment of free labor in Brazil. So at that time, there was a great incentive for easing immigration to the country, especially European immigrants. And this was mainly for reasons of labor and settlement, right? Or the whitening of the country, which happened during that period. So, all right, now let's talk about the second period, which is definitely the most important for us because it involved the largest migratory flows. And this period dates from 1930 to 1980. And here we had a significant decrease in European immigration and an increase in internal migration within the country. And here, as I mentioned earlier in the video, do you remember? What was the main destination? The Southeast region, especially São Paulo, and also the state of Rio de Janeiro, mainly because of the industrialization that was beginning to intensify in Brazil during this period. And as we know, Brazil's industrialization was concentrated in the Southeast region. Want to know a bit more about industrialization? Watch this video that's showing up here on the card, all right? And this industrialization was a major draw, right? Because there was a lot of job availability there, which made the so-called rural exodus possible. In other words, a large number of people leaving the rural areas of Brazil for the urban areas, which helped speed up the country's urbanization process. Want to know more about urbanization? Check out the video here on the card. Professor, please discuss this video's content instead of recommending others. But if I don't promote my own work, who will? It's for your benefit, so check out the videos I linked on the card. Back to the topic. When we talk about rural exodus in Brazil, guys, you have to keep in mind that the main migratory flow is from the Northeast region to the Southeast region, especially São Paulo. And here, do you remember push and pull? So the main push factors for this flow were, right, the drought in the region, the mechanization of agriculture, and the resulting loss of jobs, and also the concentration of land ownership in the region, with so much land in so few hands. And the pull factors were industrialization, as I mentioned, right? And the coffee plantations, both in the state of São Paulo and in the north of Paraná, which required a lot of labor. Another major migratory flow from this period is towards the Midwest region. And here we have two main reasons. The first was the construction of Brasilia, which also required a lot of labor. And the second is the expansion of the agricultural frontier, that is deforestation and the expansion of farming and ranching. Towards the Central West region, reaching the North region, which will become more pronounced in the following period, which we will talk about now. But before that, just a quick message. Are you a student who wants to optimize your geography studies? Or a teacher who needs to save time preparing lessons? Then check out our GeoIllustrata mind maps and ready-made slide kits. I took all the videos from the channel and turned them into slides and mind maps. Didactic materials that are straight to the point, ready to use, and with the GeoIllustrata quality you already know. The links are here in the video description. Take a look there to learn more, all right? Well, the third period dates from the 1980s onward. And here you'll notice that the migratory movements are a bit more complex, as you can see on this map. And here, so we don't go on for too long, I'll just cover a few factors, all right? The first one, which might be one of the most significant, is the industrial decentralization that started happening in Brazil around the 1990s with the goal of taking industries to other places, other regions of Brazil. For example, the southern, northern, and northeastern regions. And this consequently brought more people to these places, which also led to the development of medium-sized cities. Another significant flow on this map is from the southeastern region to the northeastern region. And this is called return migration, because the southeastern region started to become saturated and no longer offered as many opportunities for those people who came here looking for better living conditions. And then they started to return to their places of origin. About this, those who are a bit older might remember Gugu's TV show, right? From the segment Back to My Homeland, which took people born in the northeastern region, but who were in São Paulo, back to their place of origin. And another factor I want to highlight is the expansion of the agricultural frontier, or the new agricultural frontier, which started to move from the Central West region to the North region, right? Toward the Amazon, which also helped to increase deforestation in the region. I'm leaving on your screen a video about migration, another about industrialization, and another about urbanization. I highly recommend that you watch all three as they complement the content of this video here. Thanks for staying until the end. Big hug. Don't forget to like and share. See you next time. Bye.